So in the millennial rule, when things start to change under Christ's rulership, Dr. Baugh speaks of Isaiah 35, which corresponds to other chapters in Isaiah which tell of a coming millennium when the lion and the lamb will lie down together. That's a supernatural change, or was it the way God created it and then supernaturally deteriorated because of man's sin in the garden? 11:6-9. Let's see. This is the new condition. The wolf will lie down. The wolf will live with the lamb, or lie down with the leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play near the hole of the cobra, and the young child put his hand into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain. For the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. So Dr. Baugh says, there will be a time, according to Isaiah, that a child with a genetic deficiency will still live to be 100 years old. Yet an old man will fully live out his days. This prophecy foretells a time in the future when man will again have the ability to live for hundreds of years. Isaiah 65:20. Never again will there be in it an infant who lives but a few days, or an old man who does not live out his years. He who dies at 100 will be thought a mere youth. He who fails to reach 100 will be considered accursed. Dr. Baugh continues in Isaiah 35:1, which reads, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. What this means is that the earth will return to an ecospherical condition as existed before the flood. The only environmental factor that could account for such a return to a world like the antediluvian world would be a literal reestablishment of the firmament, the ice canopy overhead, and, of course, the wonderful self-contained controlled nuclear reaction underneath the surface of the earth, which was disrupted with the worldwide flood, the volcanoes, and the earthquakes. Isaiah 52:8-9. Listen, you watchmen, lift up their voices. Together they shout for joy. When the Lord returns to Zion, they will see it with their own eyes. Burst into songs of joy together, you ruins of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comforted his people. This is an insight in the Old Testament that we believers in the church age should take notice of. What a comforting thought. It is literally possible that the wilderness will actually rejoice and sing. My answer is an emphatic yes. In preceding chapters, conditions on earth before the flood were described, with the crystalline canopy and the long-wave radio energy from the stars, and how the radio energy would have been transferred to the silica. Man was serenaded each morning by the sand under his feet. Sand actually has the ability to sing when energized, and this fact has been verified by numerous scientific studies. In addition, the atmosphere would be charged with vibrations and resonate with the cellular structure of the plants. Resonate. Vibrations. I guess mankind will hear that. It'll be music. Actually, before the flood, the wilderness would sing as the Bible affirms. Not just kind of a poetic idea, literally singing. And the botanical life forms would pick up the music vibrations. As the text of Isaiah 35 declares, even war-torn Lebanon will be a place of joy in those days, and the song of glory of the Lord will be sung even by the roses from Beirut to Mount Carmel and to Sharon. But scientists have discovered that under certain circumstances in some of the sands when resonated, there are actually discernible musical notes and harmony in the atmosphere.
Thanks for waiting. This is Athena. How can I help you?
So, scientists have discovered that under certain circumstances, in some of the sands, when resonated, there are actually discernible musical notes and harmony in the atmosphere. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not, behold your God will come with a vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Capitalize the H. Isaiah 35:4. The indication in this verse is that God will build a context which will be beneficial to man. Man is now in full deterioration, while in the 20th century science has made a thorough investigation into the functions of life. The environmental dangers causing such diseases as cancer are increasing and encompassing us at a very alarming and negative rate. So let's go back and review. Dr. Baugh continues, the inference is very strong here that the natural circumstances of the ecology will be changed and revert back to conditions strikingly similar to pre-flood days. Man will respond physiologically, and there will seemingly be genetic corrections or repairs. Advanced studies suggest that if a biological organism is permitted to live within the context whereby it is resupplied with energy without contamination, it has the ability to repair itself to a great degree. Of course, this life-encompassing context includes energizing daily with the right spectra of light and the correct levels of pressure, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, as it was originally designed to have, going back to the original design. How this is going to happen in the midst of this Earth, which hasn't been recreated yet, the early millennial rule would be amazing and will be amazing to see. Dr. Robert Gaines relates that certain laboratory studies show that there is an ability within the DNA to actually strip out inharmonious properties and to some degree repair the DNA. If that be the case, it would certainly be plausible within a given ecological context where the life organisms are within their designed environment for the body to have the ability to repair itself. The blind would be able to see, the deaf would be able to hear, the lame would be able to walk. Programmed within a man's body are the genes composing the entire genetic structure for shapes, sizes, and functions of all organs. Thus, if a man's body would be permitted to repair itself, the errant genetic flaws would be corrected and brought back into balance. The design context for man's optimal benefit was the pre-flood environment under the firmament. A natural corollary for man's genetic expression involves the restoration of the canopy for the millennium. Now, if you have any thoughts about this, why did this all happen? Well, God orchestrated the flood and all the destruction with volcanoes, earthquakes, and all kinds of things, according to this, as a result of man's incorrigible depravity. Just wouldn't turn and go back to the Lord. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, especially in their advanced state. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. Henry Morris states in the Genesis record, a great book. I've quoted extensively from it. Moral and spiritual conditions in the antediluvian world had deteriorated with the passing years, not only among the Canaanites, but eventually among the Sethites as well. Seth. Materialism and ungodliness abounded, except for the small remnant connected with the line of the promised seed through Noah, along with those few who may have been influenced by the witness of such men as Enoch. The pre-flood world was rapidly becoming unimaginably wicked and violent, and evidently Noah's preaching and witnessing seemed futile. Take a look at 2 Peter 2:5. Interesting, you have insights. Oops, let's go back. 2 Peter 2:5. From the Old Testament to the New and reverse. For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to pits of darkness reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, with 7 others, when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly. He was a preacher and an ark builder. And if he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to destruction by reducing them to ashes, having made them an example to those who would live ungodly lives thereafter, and if he rescued righteous Lot, oppressed by the sensual conduct of unprincipled men, for by what he saw and heard that righteous man, while living among them, felt his righteousness soul tormented day after day by their lawless deeds, then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly men from temptation and to keep the unrighteous under punishment for the day of judgment, especially those who indulge the flesh in its corrupt desires and despise authority. So, that's what we're talking about. Whether or not he saw some of his own children engulfed in this morass of evil, Noah, there is little doubt that he saw it overwhelm his brothers and sisters and other loved ones. He must often have longed and prayed that the God with whom he, like Enoch, walked would intervene before the entire world succumbed. And the Lord said, I will blot out man from whom I have created from the face of the land, from man to animals, to creeping things, and to birds of the sky, for I am sorry that I have made him. He knew this. Let them, though, have their freedom to prove out, especially to the angelic beings that fell and turned against the Lord, to show that his justice did not impose himself upon the will of man until man got to a point where he had to exercise condemnation and judgment in the worldwide flood. Although God had made a perfect world for man and had been marvelously long-suffering toward his creatures, there finally came a time when, in justice to his own holiness, he had to terminate man's boundless wickedness. If any further delay would have completely prevented the accomplishment of God's purpose in and for mankind, man's outward wickedness had become great in the earth, because his inward imaginations had become completely evil and always evil. So the experiment proved to the angelic beings that mankind, given his own auspices, would do the same, and judgment had to come. So Satan was answered with this experiment. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the records of the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect, complete, not actually sinlessly perfect. In his generations, Noah walked with God. So Morris goes on to say in his book, note the consistent biblical order here. First, Noah found grace, trusted in the grace of God unto eternal life. Then Noah was a just man, that is, justified or declared to be righteous because of that faith. Thus he was perfect in his generations, or complete insofar as God's records are concerned. And therefore he was able to walk with God. Salvation in any era is exactly in this way. We believers are not perfect. We're completed, but not perfect. And we're given the grace of God, declaration of being perfect. We have the perfect righteousness of God declared to our account. But our perfect lifestyle is not there. It's not sinless. But with confession of sins in this church age, God gives us for a perfection. If we confess our sins, God is faithful and just to forgive us those sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. That's in 1 John 1:9. By sovereign grace, received through faith, the believer is justified before God and declared to be complete in him. Only as a result of and on the basis of this glorious gift of grace can one then walk in fellowship with God, showing the genuineness of his faith by his works. 4 times it is said later, for example, that Noah did all that God commanded him. Notice that. And Noah became the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in the sight of God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked on the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way upon the earth. Then God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. And behold, I am about to destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. You shall make the ark with rooms, and shall cover it inside and out with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. He gave him instructions on that.